Hey. Wow. What a welcoming. Thank you. All right. It happened again last quarter. I couldn't believe it. I'm in the board meeting. This company's crushing. They went from 8 to 25 last year. Crushing. And they're trying to go to 75 this year. And I think you've been in this board meeting. Like, the CMO and the head of sales, they've got it dialed in. They like have the demand gen math, they got the hiring formula going on, they got the quotas killing it, they've got everything dialed in, and they do the bottoms up math, and the number is 60 million. So they show up to the board meeting like, listen, we got 60 million. That's what we got in this market and this product. And you know the CEO's like, come on. We can get 75, tweak the knobs. Let's make it happen. You know what the other VC board member said? The number's 90 million. You've been there. It's crazy. And then what's worse is the CEO says, you know what? I got an idea. Let's build a new product this year and sell it and sign up for 15 million from the new product. You've been in that meeting? Why does this happen? Like we don't start a business and be like, oh yeah, this is my idea, we're gonna start building it next week, and we're gonna do 15 million this year. We're smarter than that. We know like we have to go through design partners and find product market fit and figure out the go-to-market engine, and we don't know if it's gonna take a week, a month, a quarter, or 2 years. We don't know. But for some reason, when we get to scale, we think we can magically come up with a new product idea, roll it out, and get 15 million, and it just works. Not only are these folks not going to get to 75, they're not going to get to 60. Because they're going to completely distract the entire team from what's already working. You know what's happening right now? The engineering team's not tweaking the current product, they're building a new one. The marketing team's updating the website because they're going to launch this at the customer event in May. The sales team's getting trained on the new product, and it's going to come out, and it's not going to work, and now no one's going to buy it. And they're going to waste all this sales capacity and this marketing capacity on something that's not known. Why do we do it? It's crazy that we have so many college courses teaching us how to account for and recognize revenue, and next to zero courses on how to scale revenue. That's absurd. And so that's what I've been working on the last 10 years at Harvard and with the portfolio, et cetera, and that's what we're going to learn today. We're going to talk about a riddle, twofold riddle. When to scale revenue and how fast. Not what Databricks did 10 years ago, but what you are capable of doing. Okay, so let's tackle the first one. When to scale revenue. I think I ask 2 audiences a week this question. I ask my students this question every year. More than half the people say product market fit, which is a great answer. Great answer. Kudos to Eric Ries and a lean startup. Kudos to Steve Blank at the beginning of the century. You evolved the entrepreneurial ecosystem for the better. We don't build vaporware in a lab and try to sell it. We build it hand in hand with design partners and find this product market fit. Phenomenal. What's crazy is, I bet if I surveyed you and asked you what product market fit is, I would get 500 different answers. That's absurd. This answer to this key strategic question, and we don't even agree on what it is. I don't know if I can have a brave soul dude, no. What? Speak to me. Come on, help me out. Anyone? Be brave. Come on. Got it, thank you. Who's brave? Who knows product market fit? Do you? Anybody? You got guy. What's up, bud? Hold on. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Yeah. Shh. Yes. Oh gosh, that's a lot. Okay, I can't even remember that. Okay, so well-defined problem, well-defined customer with a defined, value prop, and then where does it start creating product that sells it? These are better answers than most. I love that. But what's crazy is that after this, look up the Wikipedia page. It's all over the place. I mean, literally, it's like Mark Andreessen, bow down, but he's like, it's just a feeling. Like, seriously, we're basing this key strategic decision on a feeling. And I think we can do better than that. Now, these were great answers. Normally, when I ask audiences, especially these younger founders, like tech founders, which are great, love them, love working with them, brilliant builders. And I'm like, what is product market fit? I'll get $1 million in revenue, 100 customers, lots of inbound demand, say 500 leads a month. You can define it how you want, but in my opinion, wrong. That just means you can sell. You all are like some of the best sales and marketing leaders in tech. You can sell ice to Eskimos, so can I. It doesn't mean Eskimos need ice. It doesn't mean you have product market fit. You can just sell. Those people are likely gonna churn. Right, so the qualitative definition here is that your product delivers the value you promise to the market. So how do you quantify it? I would argue retention. They bought your product, they used it, and they decided to rebuy it. Whether you're an AI company in Silicon Valley or a sweatshirt company and they bought the winter version and now they're gonna bring the spring version. Now the problem is, retention is a lagging indicator. We can't just sign up 10 customers, whether we're this big company launching this new product like we talked about at the beginning, or whether we're a startup launching a new product. We can't just sign up 10 customers and say, hey, we're gonna wait for a year to see what happens. So one of the most important metrics that few organizations have defined is what I'd call the leading indicator of retention. What is it that you can observe with your customers in their first month, let's say, with you, that if it happens, they're gonna be with you forever? They've seen the value that you promised them. And if it doesn't, they're probably gonna churn. Key metric. It's crazy that I go to these board meetings from seed-funded businesses, and the first slide is their income statement where I can see how much money they paid on copy printer ink. And I don't have a single chart about how consistently they're creating value for their customers. Like less than half the board decks I have quantify that for me. Okay, so I hope that whether you're, HubSpot still tracks this. I was, as some people might know, I was the fourth employee here at HubSpot. It's great to see the ecosystem. I was the founding CRO and took them through the IPO. We couldn't figure this out until 3 years in. It was just so new. This was 2009. But I'll share you what we come up with. And they still track it today as a $2 billion company because you will lose product market fit. I've never seen a company that went from 0 to IPO and didn't lose product market fit at some point due to economic changes, due to pricing, due to competition, due to tech shifts. And most people realize it at the board meeting that happens 6 weeks after they close the revenue books, which is a representation of 9 months ago what happened in the funnel. So if you can operationalize this leading indicator of retention, you are probably running your business 9 months ahead of your peers. So here's some guidance on it. I would guide you to define this within 3 variables of P% of customers do e-event every T time. Okay, so let's look at a couple examples. All right, Slack, pretty famously documented example. 70% of customers send 2,000 team messages every month. I love that. Imagine if the founder of Slack stood up and was like, our first goal is to get to $1 million in revenue. You can imagine the things that would occur. Versus if they stood up and said, our first goal is to get 70% of customers to send 2,000 team messages every month. What a better foundation for a business. Harvey, 80% of customers have each lawyer process 1 document through AI every day. HubSpot's This was actually true. We went through 50 permutations in 2009, and this was the strongest correlation. 70% of customers use 5 or more features in the platform every month, which made sense. Because it's actually aligned with, at the time, HubSpot's unique value prop. We were competing against the point solutions. You would either buy Google Analytics and Hootsuite and WordPress and Marketo and Salesforce and patch them together, or you would just buy HubSpot. And so that was perfectly correlated with our unique value prop of the all-in-one. If you're running a platform type business, this is probably going to be the root of your leading indicator retention. So this is the slide that I want to see first in the board deck. Whether you're a seed-funded business bringing a product to market for the first time, or you're a $100 million business bringing a new product to the market, this is how I know if you're succeeding. What you have here is this is very early, the first 20 customers. We acquired one in January. And after 1 month, after 2 months, after 3 months, after 6 months, they never hit the leading indicator of retention. Customer 2 got it 3 months in, but lost it at month 5. We started to get our groove around March. We finally turned someone on with customer 7. Customer 9 stayed there. We're getting pretty good at this. And then once we hit a certain velocity, we can look at this in the form of cohorts. Right, so okay, we acquired 24 customers in January. 1 month in, only 27% hit the LIR. 6 months in, 44% hit it. That is bad. If you're Slack, 44% of people are sending 2,000 messages, bad. But look down the second column. They've crushed it. Altered their product, altered their onboarding, altered the type of customers they sold. And in the September cohort, 50 customers within 2 months, 75% had hit the LAR. We have product market fit. Not a feeling, not 100 customers. We are generating the value we promised for our customers. And we are making a decision with our own data. All right. First riddle, when are we ready to scale? We are ready to scale when we have product market fit. Product market fit should be a measure of the value you create for your customers, which in the long term is retention, and the short term is DLIR. Are we ready to scale? No. What's missing? All we've done at this point is proven that if we sign up 10 new customers next month, we will create value for most of them. We haven't proven that we can acquire and serve them profitably. Nor do I recommend we tackle that in day 1. I had the good fortune, another HubSpotter, David Cancel, who you may know. We acquired his company, Performable, 2010-ish, and he totally revolutionized our product for the better. And he went off to start a company called Drift that you may know. And I was fortunate to be an early advisor to him to help him set this up. David executed this product market fit stage so beautifully. The great Paul Graham, the founder of Y Combinator, says, do unscalable things early. Beautiful advice. And what David did when he sold up one of those first customers on Drift, who was paying him $50 a month, he flew to their office and personally onboarded them. Definitely not scalable, but beautiful behavior. Throw everything in the kitchen sink and making your customers see that value in the beginning. It is so friggin' hard to start a product and create the value. Do everything you can possible. But once you prove it, you are not ready to scale. You need to discover now, go-to-market fit. Can you acquire and serve those customers profitably? And this is not GAAP accounting profitability, because that includes your office and your engineers and all the other stuff. We have to isolate it to the cost at scale with revenue. So you probably know and you run the term unit economics in your businesses. So that is our lagging indicator, just like retention was our measure of product market fit. Unit economics is our measure of our go-to-market fit. And we can't wait 4 months for it to surface. We need to extract it back to its leading indicators. So you may run payback period, you may run burn ratio, you may run LTV to CAC. I'm gonna show you lifetime value to CAC, which in if you use that, people target 3 to over 3 for some reason. We can get into a philosophical discussion about that. That's just what people do. And this is an easier algebraic extraction. We just take this target and extract it back to the input. So if you're a math major, you're gonna love this slide. If you're a history major, close your eyes and cover your ears for about a minute. Okay, but it's simple. It's just like, all we do is like, I mean, it's actually kind of interesting that when a 27-year-old account executive joins your company and says, what's my job? The perfect answer is to generate an LTV to CAC greater than 3. But that would actually make a 27-year-old's head explode. Right? So like we do this naturally. It's just like this is framing it in a first principles perspective is like a lot of people define LTV. Dude, I feel for you on this, man. Wow. Okay. Looks good so far though. All right, LTV is like ACV times gross margin divided by churn. The CAC is like how much did it cost to get the lead plus how much did it cost to sell the lead. The cost, you know, the cost on the opportunity is the lead cost divided by the close rate. The cost on the how much it costs to sell the lead is how much we pay our AE every period divided by the number of customers they close. And the number of customers they close is how much opportunities they get times the close rate. I told you, like, we're going fast. Like, you can just read it in the book or look at the slide, whatever. All we're doing is extracting this output to something that we can tangibly understand, like how many leads are we generating, what's the cost per opportunity, what's the close rate, and what are the quotas. And I can put together a business model. Maybe we'll do 15,000 contract value. Maybe we'll do 80% gross margin. Maybe our cost per lead will be 1,000. And if we get that, that will spit out a good business. That'll spit out go-to-market fit. That'll spit out unit economics. And I can just dashboard it. As long as the red line stays above the blue, then I have go-to-market fit. And I probably know 4 to 6 months ahead of my peers because I've instrumented the business on leading indicators. So hopefully that's a better answer for you than a feeling or 100 customers. You are ready to scale when you have product market fit and go-to-market fit. We can instrument both of them with lagging indicators and leading indicators. And I recommend that you do them sequentially because it's really hard to find product market fit. And if you do them at the same time, you run the risk of optimizing the go-to-market on the wrong product-market combination as you pivot. That is your answer on ready to scale. Hopefully that gives you a framework that you can use with your board to get them on page. But what about how fast? This one happened in February again. I met this awesome entrepreneur in the Valley. And they're like, I'm like, what's the plan this year? They're like, we're gonna go from 1 to 9 million to 9 million. I'm like, whoa, that's fast. I see that more these days. I'm not sure how real it is. It's hard to find this high growth ARR with a good moat and high LTV. Just a side note, which may cause a bubble. First, I'm on the favor of that. Okay, you're gonna go from 1 to 9. How are you gonna do it? Well, we hired 17 salespeople last week. Oh. How many did you have last year? 1. Oh boy. They're like, what? What's wrong? I'm like, you're gonna be firing 17 salespeople in about 8 months. It's just crazy. I know why they do it. I know how we got there. They negotiated a huge valuation with the investor, said they were gonna go from 1 to 9 to minimize dilution. The investor bought it, gave them the huge dollars with a huge term sheet and said, great. Now the founder's like, oh man, now I have to do it. So they whipped up their Google sheet and did the math on the quota and figured out I need to hire 17 reps. Let's go do it and cross our fingers and make it work. With no regard of how many interviews I need to do to find 17 good salespeople and do we have the capability to do that this week? No. With no regard, kudos to the marketers in the room, that we can like 17x demand gen in a week. With no regard that the average rep to manager ratio in the industry is 7 to 1. Now we need 2 managers. Crazy. That's what we do. So how fast are we ready to scale? The key first point is so simple. And it's really just don't think of scale as one-time lump sum hiring at the beginning of fiscal year or right after a fundraise. Think of it as a pace that goes on forever. Not 17 reps in Q1, 4 salespeople a quarter. Think about it as a pace. That allows us to rev up the engine. And then how do we know if we're going too fast or too slow? We set that pace and we watch the lead indicator of retention and the lead indicator of unit economics, and it tells us if we're going too fast or too slow. If it breaks, stop, fix it, and get it back on track. It might take a day, a week, a month, a quarter, I don't know, but stop and fix it. If it's good, then go faster. Hire 4 reps a quarter for 2 quarters. If it's good, go to 6 reps a quarter for 2 quarters. If it's good, go to 12 reps a quarter for 2 quarters. If it's good, go to 16 reps a quarter for 2 quarters. Congrats, you're a unicorn. And you did it in 2 years, very calculated manner. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of view on like, when are we ready to scale and how fast? Based on our data, not what Databricks did 10 years from now, not based on the IRR potential of a venture capitalist. And it's crazy. It's like literally like you set this annual plan in November, and then we missed the number in June. We missed Q2. We missed it by 30%. You go to the board meeting, you missed. What does the board member say? Hire more reps and catch up. Catch up to what? We're not a public company. What are we catching up to? No one's selling this business anytime soon. It's gonna be like 5 more years. And when we do, no one's gonna ask what our growth rate was from Q to Q3 5 years ago. This thing is broken. If we hire more people, we put like more fuel on the fire. We need to stop, fix it. I don't know if it's day, week, a month, a quarter, and then get it back on track. And if you'd like to do that, you can use this thing. One of my colleagues at Stage 2, Mandy Cole, invented the stay or go or slow framework. And what this does is at the beginning of every quarter, when our emotions are not high, we can say to the board and agree with the board, what will we see after the next quarter that would make us want to go faster or stay the same or slow down? Even the most aggressive board members will give into this and admit that there will be a performance level that would cause us to want to temporarily slow down. And usually, that framework has 3 dimensions. One's a demand gen, one's a demand conversion, and one is a customer success, representing the stages of the funnel. So it might be something like, oh boy, I missed it. It might be something like, hey, if every account executive averages over 10 new opportunities a month, then we're in the green. If 70% of the account executives hit quota, then we're in the green. If 80% of the new customers hit the LIR in the first month, then we're in the green and we will go faster. Love it. If any of them are yellow or green, we'll stay the same. But if anything is in the red, if the reps are only generating less than 5 opportunities a month, or if under 50% of those reps hit attainment quota, or if less than half the customers hit the LIR, stop, slow down, fix it, and get back on track. The stay or go or slow model every quarter. We are not public companies. We don't need to live and die by the annual plan. Manage our business every quarter or every month based on the information that it's saying to us. Okay. The last framework I want to introduce is, it turns out that the way you build your go-to-market system differs as you go through product market fit, the pursuit of go-to-market fit, and the scale mode. And that's what I want to introduce to you, is how that differs based on where you are. Again, whether you're a brand new startup or whether you're a big, gigantic company bringing a new product to market, you will go through this sequence and model this team accordingly. So first, the go-to-market system. A lot of people call this like the sales playbook. I use go-to-market system because when we talk about sales, we mostly talk about like selling leads. But go-to-market is about generating opportunities, selling opportunities, and making customers successful. I talk about it holistically. And I like to use the word system because I'm a professor at Harvard and that's how we talk. All right, so the foundation of it is our ICP, you know, ideal customer profile. That's who we're targeting. And we build a go-to-market process to help those customers buy. Not hawk our products, help them buy. There's 2 inputs to the system. We hire go-to-market people and we generate demand for the system to run. And it runs based on how we coach those people, how we pay those people, and how we set up our product and pricing, which creates this language between the buyer and the customer, and spits out in order activities like demos and contracts that lead to a forecast that lead to predictable revenue. That is our system. Sorry, I don't know, too fast. Sorry, I guess the animation is off from my normal narrative. Okay, now the point is, that's the system. It turns out that the system, the ideal design considerations for the system needs to be rooted in your context. It is very dangerous to come to a conference like this and ask your neighbor what they look for in a salesperson. Because that differs based on your context. Who are you selling to? What are you selling? And what is it? Are you in Japan or Brazil? Are you a family-backed business or a private equity or VC? What stage you're at, et cetera. I've unfortunately had to fire probably 400 or 500 salespeople in my career. Almost all of them go to another company and succeed massively. Because context matters. A different rep is going to succeed at selling pencils to schools than jets to governments. Okay, so it just so happens that one of those criteria is the stage of our venture, whether we're pursuing product market fit, go-to-market fit, or growth remote. So, what is the ideal go-to-market system design when we first launch the product? We're trying to find product market fit. They were definitely going after early adopters. If the prospect says, this is awesome, just send me 5 case studies, don't try to sell that person right now. You're not ready. Put them in a nurturing campaign. We need to find early adopters that want to design with you. We do a lot of founder selling at this mode. It's great. From a rep standpoint, the #1 salesperson at Workday is the absolute worst hire at this stage. They're going to come in, give a presentation to every single prospect, no one's going to buy them, they're going to say, your company sucks, and they're going to leave. We're in learning mode. Like, this is literally like the first time we touch 20 customers every week. Yeah, the revenue's great, but the feedback is killer. So the rep we need is someone that can talk to the engineering team, that can look at those 20 conversations and communicate the patterns to accelerate our ability to achieve product market fit. And don't talk to me about demand gen, like a cold calling program, or optimal pricing, or even pay. Quotas. This is too early for that. We can get 50 introductions through our network or advisory board. I don't need a cold calling program or demand gen content marketing program. I don't need to prove that I can charge $50K for this thing. I just need to see someone use it. Free is bad because they're not committed, but I'll give a discount, a massive one, I don't care. And our reps should not be in a quota at this stage. Why are the only ones that can't pay their mortgage? They just put them on a regular salary with equity. Not enough people do that. Okay, so the biggest mistake that people make at that stage is not being disciplined to the ICP. I ask all my LPs, what is the #1 reason why you see a company pursuing product market fit fail? They're not disciplined to the ICP. This is who you target. Your ICP is not who you put in your slide deck for your investors. Your ICP is not who you put on the website. Your ICP is who your salespeople sell to. And we have to align that. Your product team did a bunch of customer interviews and built a product for a slice of the market. Your sales team needs to be aligned with that. People are shocked to know that in year 3 of HubSpot, when we were $4 million in revenue, one of my reps closed a massive deal with Facebook at the time, and Halligan ripped up the contract. It would have killed us. We would not be here right now. They would have dominated our roadmap, and we did not build it for them. So this simple framework of what are the attributes we're looking for? What's right down the middle, who we're building for? That's what our outbound campaigns are. That's what our ads are for. This one, we're ripping up the contract. If it's in Japan, we're ripping up the contract. And in between, if they come to us, we can sell to them. If they're an inbound lead, or if they come up to the booth, we can sell to them. They're in the periphery, and that allows us to experiment. And make sure, if you're on the board or investor, make sure you have them document when they change the ICP. That does happen all the time. You're going to refine and learn and change the ICP. just make sure they document it, because you've been in those meetings where like, oh yeah, they churned, but they weren't ICP. When did you decide that? After they churned? Right, so you just have that paper trail is pretty good. Okay, how does this change when we're at go-to-market fit? We can sell the early majority now. We need a process, so we need someone who's built a process before for the go-to-market team. That's who our hire is, a process builder. And guess what? We need at least one scalable demand gen program. Our pricing model needs to be optimized, and our compensation plan needs to be in place, because that drives the CAC. And this is all about the pursuit of good unit economics. So our team alters and changes. One of the tricks here on the comp plan is a lot of people, the problem with the comp plan is a lot of people delegate the comp plan to the first sales leader, and the sales leader uses the comp plan from their last company. Terrible. You start a comp plan design with the strategic goals of the CO and asking yourself, what behaviors can I reinforce in the sales team, and that's my comp plan. Usually at this stage, it's about preserving LTV and retention. My favorite comp plan that is not used enough at this stage is the rep gets half their commission when the customer signs the contract and half the commission when the customer hits the LIR. Beautiful. If you have a free trial, your reps will get that person to hit the LIR before they even sign up. It's beautiful. And I'm not turning the rep into a CSM. It's just they're setting good expectations and selling the right stuff to make sure that they hit the LIR. Okay? The biggest problem here is the way they build the playbooks. I always tell my students come in like, I'm like, what is sales? How do you sell? And they're like, oh, it's about a provocative presentation. It's a presentation. It's a slide deck. How'd the meeting go? Great, we got through all 27 slides. It was awesome. And then I show them this. I'm like, what does this report show? It's from Gone for 150,000 sales meetings, first sales meetings. Oh my gosh. The top reps in the industry are speaking less than half the time on the first call. Where are you on this chart? Oh, we're way at the bottom. Okay, that's not good. And we start to understand that this first call is about not pushing your product value, but discovering and qualifying the buyer. But the product manager is conscious. Because when they build the playbook, they're like, okay, who did we build this product for? What are the features and benefits? Let me build a slide presentation, give it to our sales team. We're training our sales team to act like the bottom performers. Versus like, how does the buyer buy? Before they even know about our product. A lot of you may understand the buyer journey. This is the missing ingredient from so many playbooks, is how does the buyer buy? What do they talk about at the awareness stage before they know our product exists? How do they make that decision before they know our product exists? And I can just lay that out for folks. So I'm not gonna get into that. You'll get the slides, and it's also in the book if you want to study that. All right, last piece is, now we're ready for scale mode. How does this change? Okay, now we have a multi-segmented market. We have SMB and enterprise. We need a sales management layer because we need to reinforce the playbook. Now we're ready for the #1 rep from Workday. Now we are ready. And I probably have multiple demand gen channels, and I need to add a promotion path. So the #1 mistake is this one. This is such a hard one. Even the students at MIT stare at this one for like a minute or two and can't get it. Beautiful study though. I don't know if you get it. Basically, the chart on the left shows you how good the reps were and how likely they were to get promoted. So the best reps get promoted to manager. The chart on the right shows how good of a rep you were and how good you are as a manager. So the best reps are the worst managers. You've seen that, right? Don't promote your best rep to manager. Well, professor, what? To promote my worst rep? What's the answer? So it's just that, like, there's just a massive difference in execution and skill ability between being a great rep and a great manager. Being a great manager is all about being a great coach and a mentor, and holding people accountable to a process has nothing to do with what reps learn. So we simply need to generate, the missing part is like, Great salespeople think the only way to grow is to move to management. Create an opportunity for them to grow within your organization without becoming a manager. Salesforce did this great. You start as a 22-year-old SDR, and 10 years later, you wake up and you're an enterprise rep making $1 million. And if you don't have all these different SKUs, you can even, like, we did this at HubSpot where you just create like a single role. You come in as tier 1. Gone did this beautifully as well. I saw a Gone person's resume where they got up to tier 8. And you just stay in the same freaking role, but you're getting paid a little more with a little more equity as you achieve more and more. Create a path for them to be able to stay in their role without having to move to manager. All right. What does the science of scaling mean in the post-AI era? The publishing moves so slowly. I had to submit the book last July, and it hit the shelves in February. And with things moving so fast, it's like, what the heck? So I wrote an appendix about how this may alter in the AI world, and it still holds true, thankfully. But I think what's interesting about the work is it strips down go-to-market design to first principles, which I think is very important as we start building these AI models within go-to-market. I think like these 23-year-old like AI builders are just copying what was done in 2023 without regard of what the first principle are. An example is like they base ICP on my ICP is the easiest leads to close. That's troubling. It needs to be like high LTV with lower CAC. We went through this in 2008 when we started getting inbound leads. Everybody sold to every inbound lead, even though we didn't build a product for every inbound lead and half the customers churned. We're going through that again. Everyone's obsessed with where's the intent, where's the intent? And the rep's like, oh my God, the AI found intent. Someone posted on social media about our product, but we didn't actually build the product for that person. It has to be a combination of high LTV with low CAC, and we're making these mistakes within the models. Couple predictions. Predictions are dangerous today. But the first one is, I do predict, we have gone through a massive specialization movement within go-to-market. In 1995, we had one role, and it was salesperson. They created demand, they sold demand, and they serviced the customer. In 2025, we have a bunch of roles. We have an SDR, an AE, AM, a CSM. I predict those collapse in the AI era. There's positives to specialization, like putting talent in the right spot. There's negatives. Terrible experience for the customer, the handoffs, terrible. And very difficult managerial alignment. I predict in the AI era that the positives will outweigh the negatives for keeping a single role. If you buy it, you can move in that direction with your teams. I also predict that the management rep to manager ratio will double and triple in the next couple of years. One of the most important and time-consuming roles of the manager is a coach. AI is a better coach right now. The manager looks at one call and coaches you. AI looks at your last 700 calls and coaches you. AI understands how you like to learn. We're getting there. So it reduces the scope necessary for the managers. And then finally, today, go-to-market orgs are run by the CRO, who is largely a great human capital manager. I think the future sales orgs will be run by RevOps. No one's here from RevOps. Because in the future, this is going to be driven more by the process than the data. They may even be on the front lines in some markets, and the humans will be behind the scenes. So just consider that as you're hiring your team and the way you structure them. And then finally, everyone's like, oh, dude, we're so AI native. Hey, show up to the board meeting. We finally finished making our sales team AI native, and it was huge. Our R&D team is AI native now. How do you know? Like, what are you basing this on? That's the question I'm doing now. Is like, how do you know your support team's AI native? Can you talk to me in metrics? How do you know your engineering team's AI native? Can you talk to me in metrics? How do you know your sales team is AI native? This is what I'm looking for if you're AI native. If you're AI native, you know selling time? Selling time is the percentage of time in a given week with your reps that they're with a buyer or prospect. Industry-wide, it's been about 25% the last decade. 25% of their time is with a customer, 75% is doing pipeline reviews with the managers, find next deals to call, putting together demo wireframes, updating the CRM, doing all the other stuff. AI will drive that to 75%. You are AI native if you get your selling time to 75%. You can use AI to measure it. I would say the top 5% in tech sales teams will hit it by the end of the year, maybe top 1% of sales teams across the entire industry. The second one, your rep to manager ratio doubles from 7 to 1 to 15 to 1 because you use AI to do the coaching. And that will at least double productivity per rep. If you had Sue and Bob, who have been with you for 3 years, and every single quarter they hit 250K of ARR every single quarter, they will start hitting 500K almost overnight. I mean, if you think about it, if all you do is drive selling time to 75%, same rep, same demand gen, same opportunities, same product, same pricing, same competitive landscape, they will triple PPR. So that's what I'm looking for if you're going to be sales native, AI native. All right, so the folks mentioned Stage 2 Capital. I've been at it for 8 years. We just closed our 4th fund. We're running back by 1,000 sales and marketing leaders across tech. Some of you are in the room. Thank you very much. It's the sales and marketing leaders from Anthropic and OpenAI and Writer and Lovable and LinkedIn and Salesforce and HubSpot. Yamini's an LP, Halligan's an LP. So we're here. If you're starting to write code all the way up to about $2 million in revenue, we are here to add a go-to-market lens to your boardroom and help you with these things. The last piece is just, this stuff has been codified into a book. The Science of Scaling came out in February. 100% of the proceeds are donated to mental health. And I have 2 comments for that. The first one is, it's been a big thing in my life. It's crazy how we still have a stigma with mental health. We've come a long way since my parents and my grandparents' generation, who waved it off as like something in your head. Yeah, it literally is in your head. But like, you get what I mean. I've been supporting friends. I've been a caregiver to my direct family, and I've been a patient. And I'm very blessed that I have had certain things on my resume where society respects them, so I can be more vulnerable than most. And I just think like, hey, if you're interviewing someone, you found out they survived cancer, you elevate them as a candidate. If you found out they survived a massive mental health breakdown, you start to have concerns. And so I hope we can fix that. The second thing is 100 times more talent, capital, effort is being put into building AI and not understanding the societal implications. We need to do a better job. We can't delegate this to DC. We can't delegate this to the economists. They don't get it. As a tech community, we need to do our part. This is my temporary little part. I hope to do a bigger part for now, but I hope it inspires you to help society adapt to this new world. Thank you very much.
Let's give one hand, ladies and gentlemen.